Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti, hoping you guys are having a good night. And above all else, that you're looking after yourselves and one another. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to episode 4 of Have You Heard Of? And the band I'm going to be covering on this episode, the only word I can use to describe this band is unique. They're a Dutch progressive rock band called Kayak. They formed in 1972. They signed to Harvest EMI Records. The album I'm going to be talking about is their third release called Royal Red Bouncer, released in 1975. They released their debut album in 1973. And I should tell you too that they have been releasing albums quite recently. The most recent album called Out of This World was released in 2021. So they're still active today. Performing on the album for Royal Red Bouncer, we have, uh, as I look at my notes here, Max Werner on lead vocals, percussion Mellotron, Johann Schlager on guitars and backing vocals, Ton Scherpenzeel on keyboards, backing vocals, and double bass, Bert Veldkamp on bass guitar and backing vocals, Pin Koopman on drums and backing vocals, and lead vocals on track number 4. Now, this album, even though it's listed as a progressive rock album, um, for this album, they kind of moved away from their progressive rock leanings and went for more of a pop rock oriented style. There are 10 tracks on the album. Um, Max Werner does lead vocals for all the tracks except track 4, and I'll get into that. Again, unique is the only way I can describe this album. The album starts off with the title track, Royal Red Bouncer. And well, before I begin that too, all the tracks range in length from 2 minutes and 33 seconds to 5 minutes and 15 seconds. So not very long for a progressive rock album, right? Again, there are no 20-minute epic suites that last for two sides of the album. Again, getting back to the track listing, Royal Red Bouncer, the title track, starts off the album. In my notes, I have here fast-paced tempo, very piano-driven, as is most of the tracks on the album. Unique vocals is the only way I can describe it. And it's pretty much a rocker, straightforward rocker in some sections, right? Track 2 is a track called Life of Gold, clocking in at 3 minutes, 25 seconds. Has a slow tempo, very much again piano driven, and a very steady drum pattern. Um, what I do like about the production on this album is the drums. The drums do come in very pronounced and very crisp, and in my opinion, very clean. Some people may call the production on this album slightly muddy, but I don't think so at all. Track 3 is a track called You're So Bizarre. Again, clocking in at 3 minutes, 48 seconds. Very much, again, a piano-driven track, mid-tempo arrangement. Nice use of fuzz guitar. And the arrangement of the track, to me, it kind of reminds me of dancehall. Um, Not as good as Queen would do it, like on, you know, a night at the opera, sheer heart attack, but it does have that kind of lighthearted feel to it. Um, Track 4, the only track not featuring Max Werner on lead vocals, is a track called Bury the World. In my notes, okay, the track comes in at 4 minutes and 21 seconds. Nice use of harmony guitars, again, a mid-tempo track. Again, the vocals are considered, in my opinion, unique. Nice shimmering synths and nice use of clarinet on this album. And it has a very grand and epic production approach. I do like the use of clarinet on this album. Um, Beautifully done, very tastefully done, and very crisp, in my opinion, and very clear. Track five is a piece called Chance for a Lifetime, clocking in at 4 minutes and 15 seconds. In my notes, I have here grand synth intro, very much again piano-driven track, nice use of rhythm guitar. And what I like about this track, in terms of the vocals, which is the one thing I do like about the vocals on this track, the vocals are double tracked, but they're not combined together to sort of create a thick texture of vocals. They're the vocals are sort of done like side by side. So it sounds like two people singing, but it's the same person double tracking the vocals on this piece. And nice guitar on this piece. Track number six, as I look at my notes here, is a track called If This Is Your Welcome, clocking in at 4 minutes and 56 seconds, almost 5 minutes. Again, another piano-driven track, nice guitar. It does pick up tempo towards the end of the track, and nice use of organ on this piece. Track number seven is called Moments of Joy, 4 minutes even. Good use of piano, uh, a lot of piano runs. What I like about the use of piano on this album, sorry, is there's a lot of sweeping piano runs, grand, majestic sort of ascending piano lines, descending piano lines, overlapping with one another. Really good, really good. And it's at a mid-tempo pace, this track. Track number eight for me is the one track that makes the album for me. It's sort of the centerpiece, which for me is kind of it's odd because it's only 2 minutes and 14 seconds. And it's called Patricia Anglea. I hope I say that right. In my notes, I have here panning, use of panning on synthesizer and piano, gorgeous vocal phrasings from a guest vocalist. I hope I say her name correctly, Patricia Pay, Paay. She was a Dutch she's a Dutch vocalist. She has done work in jazz music. She's also a television show host. But her work on this track for me is very beautiful. It's very almost haunting, but that's just my opinion. And the drums do kick in during near the end of the track. And the drums that do come in have a really good steady pattern to them. What I do like about the production on this album is the drum work and the drum production. It has a very clear, crisp sound on the drums. Now, some people may hear this album and think it has a muddy sound, but to me, that's not the case. Track nine is a song called Say No Word, clocking in at 5 minutes and 15 seconds, the longest piece on the album. And in my notes, I have here heavy, quote unquote, wall of organ and rhythm guitar, uh, good steady piano chords. And I hear to my ear, my untrained ear, synth pieces that come in at a 1/16th note, but very steady, like boom, 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 boom. I count it as 1/16th. I may be wrong. But the piano also that's used on this track is very sprawling, very epic, very grand. And you have a lot of, on these tracks, a lot of overlapping of piano sections and almost like a wall of piano that come in. Very beautifully done, very epic, very grand, very, I was going to say opulent. I guess that's the word to use, but it is good nonetheless. It is very good. Um, Track number 10 is a song called My Heart Never Changed. Another short track, 2 minutes and 33 seconds. Again, in my notes, sweeping piano chords, beautiful use of clarinet. I love the use of clarinet on this album, and great mellotron. Okay, now progressive rock and mellotron went hand in hand. They still do. Um, you could not hear a progressive rock album without the use of mellotron on it at all. I mean, it was that instrument was a mainstay um, for progressive rock music, and it's still used today by some bands, uh, a good amount of bands, I should say. So there you have it, guys. Royal Red Bouncer by Kayak. Please let me know what you think of the album in the notes down there below in the comments. And yeah, I gotta tell you, in terms of the lyrics on this album, um, I think they were translated from Dutch into English, and sometimes the translations don't transfer well. They don't translate over well. If you do a literal word for word translation in any foreign language to English, the you know that phrase that's saying lost in translation, that's exactly what happens. I know that with Italian music, with Italian lyrics, some words are put in the reverse order in Italian than they would be in English. So when they are translated over to English from the original language, it loses something, and it loses its I guess you'd say potency and meaning when you try and do a literal translation to some of these songs in whatever language, you know. So, guys, again, please let me know what you think of this album, Royal Red Bouncer, and the group Kayak. I gotta tell you, a lot of these bands have been talking about from episode one, you know, Fire Ballet, Ethos, um, Triumvirate, and Kayak. I hadn't heard of them until about 2 years ago. Okay, so this opened my eyes to a whole section of bands that I never knew existed. You know, I again, as I said, if you were a band in the early 70s, 71, 72, and you were promoting yourself as a progressive rock or symphonic rock band, unfortunately, you were compared unfavorably to, yes, King Crimson, Jethro Tull, ELP, um, you know, Rush in some cases also. So, uh, you know, um, it was what it was, right? So there you go, guys. Again, um, please click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content we've got coming up. Coming up, I have the final episode of Have You Heard Of, episode 5, and I'm going to be tackling the album uh, uh, Red Queen to Griffin 3, uh, which is by the progressive rock band Griffin. And more episodes coming up with Bill Schuster, Ken Cheshire, and um, Jim Bricker. And yeah, so hopefully everyone will tune in, and it'll be good. Among the episodes that we're going to be working on is we're going to be doing an album discussion on The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway from Genesis. And the reason being is that The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway is celebrating its 58th year, and there is a box set that is supposed to be coming out sometime in 2024. Although we're ending or nearing the end, sorry, of 2024. So hopefully it'll come out in the next few weeks or next couple of months before we bring in 2025. So that's coming up for taping, and that's going to be airing soon. That's going to be a really good discussion. So that's it for now. Please look after yourselves and one another, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye for now.